Hello guys, welcome back to the Koliwe Cooks channel. My name is Koliwe, your neighborhood home cook who loves to share her recipes. Thank you so much for joining me again today. To my returning subscribers, thank you so much for coming and gracing me with your presence. And to anybody who's new, stick around. It's really nice around here. We're making really delicious food. Please do not forget to like, comment and subscribe. Any questions can go down below in the comment section. Today we're making a tiramisu cake. So if you want to see how I made that, please continue watching. That we're using for this little step, and then we'll go for it. I have a slice of lemon. I have 3 eggs, a 1/8 teaspoon of salt. I have 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence, and lastly I have 1/4 cup of sugar. I am using brown sugar. You can certainly use white sugar, that'll be fine. I am using a hand mixer, and I'll be using a large glass bowl. You might be asking yourself why I have the slice of lemon here. Well, whenever you're gonna work with egg whites, it's very important to clean whatever bowl you're gonna be working with and make sure it doesn't have any oil or lipids in it, really, because that affects how well your egg whites develop and become fluffy. So the lemon is an astringent, and it makes sure that my bowl is clean and doesn't have any oil that will affect the way our eggs fluff up. Yeah, I'm happy with that. It's clean for the job that we need to do. We're gonna separate our eggs because we're gonna fluff up the egg whites first, and then we'll deal with the egg yolks later. So let's set aside the egg yolks for later. Now, I am going to add 1/8 teaspoon of salt, and then we start beating them. Okay, once your egg whites start looking foamy like that, you are ready to start adding your sugar. I'm gonna add the sugar gradually, not the whole thing at once. Yeah, so I'm gonna take my time with it while the whisk is on. At soft peaks, I will add my 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence. So you know what the test is, right? I'm not gonna do the test. I already saw them move. They're not ready. Now that's what you call a stiff peak. Like, amazing. Also, look at that down there. You see, it's literally holding its own, like it's not falling, nor is this one here. So I would say we've reached where we need to be. Ooh, that looks amazing. Silky, delicious. So our egg whites are done. Let's set them aside. Now we are making use of our egg yolks that we separated earlier. So I'm also using my hand mixer, very important. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to cream my eggs. So what I added here was the 1/4 of a cup of sugar, and this is a 1/4 cup of sunflower oil, and I have a 1/4 of a cup of sparkling water in there. Now I'm going to start adding my oil gradually to this mixture and just continue mixing. I'm going to add my 1/4 of a cup of sparkling water now, and then just beat it a little more before we move on. Now we are mixing our egg white mixture with the mixture of the yolks. I'll take a little bit of our whites and then fold them in here. So now I can add this mixture onto my egg white mixture. Set this baby girl aside. So this one, guys, we're folding. We don't want to totally deflate our egg white. Genuine note, I'm really happy with that. I will not take it further. And now we add our 1 cup of flour. I'm using cake flour as mentioned earlier. So then we have a teaspoon and 1/8 of baking powder, also adding it in there to sift. Okay, crazy. I just wanted to thoroughly mix through. Okay guys, you should have already been preheating your oven. I haven't, so I'm putting it on now. It's on the bake option, and I'm preheating at 220 degrees Celsius. Ooh, guys, so one thing about the baking powder, it's reacting now to the sparkling water, and you see it's literally bubbling. It's actually making a sound if you come close enough to it. We haven't even started really customizing this cake into what it is that we're making. So that, all of that is a pretty good base for any vanilla sponge that you want to do, light and fluffy and beautiful. Now let's get our baking pan. Here goes our cake batter. And I'm pretty happy with that. This goes in the oven. Here is the cake, and I'm going to taste it now. Okay, so my knife is coming out clean, which means that our cake is ready. So this cake needs to cool down completely before we can start doing anything to it. So I'm gonna put it aside, and then I want us to start working on the icing for this. And in my mixing bowl, I have mascarpone cheese. This is 375 grams of mascarpone cheese. That's my icing sugar that I made from brown sugar. It is 1/2 cup of it. and then I have a whole cup of whipping cream. And lastly, we have some vanilla essence. That is a teaspoon of vanilla essence. That'll also come in handy over here. As you can see, it's a whole block currently. So before I add anything else, I'm just going to soften it, and I'm going to use my hand mixer to do so. Now I'm going to add my sugar. I'm actually gonna just try and add the whole bit. So that's half a cup of icing sugar. The mascarpone has curdled. I think this is a good moment to just, share that it does happen, especially if you start whipping your mascarpone cold. But there's a very quick fix. Let's get into the fix. The same mascarpone mixture that we had earlier. The only difference that I've done, or the only difference now, is that the texture is correct. It's creamy and pliable. It doesn't look like scrambled eggs. So the only thing I did was warm it up in the microwave at 30-second intervals. And I would take 30 seconds, come back and whip it, 30 seconds, come back and whip it, just to get it into shape. So you're just warming it up a little. So I'm gonna put that aside. So it is very important for you to have your mascarpone cheese at room temperature when you start whipping it, because otherwise it becomes like how mine was. So here goes the cream, 1 cup. I am honestly a bit scared now that it's gonna curdle, so I'm gonna leave it like this, and then I'll start adding my mascarpone cheese a little at a time as well, because it needs to be mixed up anyway, so it'll continue whipping now with mascarpone. I'm gonna start whipping in this bowl with this mascarpone, so I'll just pour my whipped cream or whipping cream, because it's still in the process of whipping, a little at a time. So scrape the outside of your bowl just to make sure that the mixture is getting all mixed in properly throughout. And then pour a little bit more of your cream. So good. So good. And you know what? If you're a person who doesn't like really sweet icing, this is literally the icing you should be doing. We're now going to fill our piping bag with the frosting. Fill it all the way. This on the side for now. It's stunning is what it is. So first things first, I am going to invert it and remove our baking sheet. Look how easy that is. Beautiful. Okay, so we are towards the end of our cook. Right now I want my cake to be 2 layers, so it does seem, rather small, but I definitely want it to be 2 layers. So bear with me, let's cut it. So the best thing to do when you're trying to cut your cake to try and get it as level as possible is to actually, before you get in, go around If you have a lazy Susan, it's even better. I don't, so I'm keeping my hand still and all I'm moving is the actual cake. And yeah, as you can see, it's the same all around. And I definitely recommend using a serrated knife like I am. So even though I'm cutting all the way in now, I'm doing a saw movement and still going around so that my cake can cut through, but still cutting at that indentation that I made earlier. So we've cut it now. The moment of truth. Oh my God. There we go. Guys, come on. That is incredible. And I'm using the top. This was the top of the cake when we were baking it. I'm putting it at the bottom. What that helps you with is getting a more flat surface over the top and not a domed cake. Remember, this is a tiramisu cake, so what that means is that there has to be lots and lots of coffee. I made this coffee and I cooled it down. I used a really good quality instant coffee. I used, I would say, half a cup of boiling water, and I used a whole tablespoon of the instant coffee so that the flavor of coffee is quite distinct in there. And all you're doing is soaking the sponge with the coffee. And place it, the mascarpone like that on the sides. Okay, now on the top we do some more soaking of sponge. I'm going to use the same tip I was using earlier, which is just the normal round tip. My icing, needs a lot of work, but you know what? I'm very happy with this. I'm just gonna cut myself a tiny sloss. Okay, not tiny. I'm actually gonna go in for a wedge. Right between where I did the cocoa powder and where there isn't any. Look how huge that is. Oh my God. Let's see. Oh, guys, come on. Come on. This looks incredible. And I'm just gonna pop it onto a side plate. Come closer. So I'm just gonna taste that quickly. The coffee is coming through. Guys, don't do yourself the disservice of not having coffee in there. The mascarpone is so rich and the coffee really just pulls this whole cake together. Okay guys, so we have come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you loved this recipe, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and comment. I will see you guys next time. Until then, happy cooking.